So you have been watching with me the suspense movie Sabotage with Alfred Hitchcock, 1936. I'm just going to let it play. Thus far we have seen the human sacrifice, the little boy Stevie carrying the bomb, and the bomb explodes on a bus. And Mr. Verloc, who is right there, is the #1 suspect. His wife is next to him. She's completely innocent. And the man to the right is a representative of Scotland Yard. Listen to what he says about the time of the bomb.
Why'd you ask?
Well, after all, I can't be in two places at the same time, can I?
I suppose not. I may be back later on.
I'll play that back.
A whole busload of people have been blown up in the West End.
How awful. What time?
Why'd you ask?
Well, after all, I can't be in two places at the same time, can I?
Now it explodes at 1:45, and if you take the 4 and the 5, that's 9, add it together, and the 1, and put the 9 in front of the 1, that's 9-1. Now you add the 1 because that repeats the number system because of your interest, so it becomes a 911 code, which is a death code. And of course there's a little pun on that because he's trying to say, Mr. Verloc's trying to say that he's innocent because he's been at the house here.
Suppose not. I may be back later on.
Now notice the ad placement. This is something that movies do frequently, and obviously they were doing it in 1936. That's the date that this movie comes out, 1936. And there's your Coca-Cola in the background. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but this may be the first film that really highlights terrorism and really brings it to the forefront of the minds of people. There may have been other films prior to this, but this one is classic. Hitchcock is a master at building suspense in a film. And this one might be the first masterful presentation of terrorism. Now they don't use that word. They use the word sabotage. In the opening credits they'll go to a dictionary and they will show you a dictionary definition of sabotage. Now I need a little bit of help. I wonder if anybody knows anything or can tie it in for me. I didn't do any research, but anyhow, that's the film that the young boy Stevie was carrying to take it obviously to another cinema. And the bomb was probably intended for the other cinema, but because of all the delays, the bomb exploded on a bus in the city of London. Now what I like about this little still shot is If you look, you'll see the circle. It says real, R-E-E-L. Now I have another channel called real, R-E-A-L, or R-E-E-L, real or real. And remember, the hoax lie system is primarily based on R-E-E-L, real, film. And then the film produces it in your mind. And then your mind goes to work and creates the fear. And hence, most of the control that is done today is done by the use of fear. To make people afraid. Afraid of what? Everything. To get up and go out and get on a bus, it might blow up, as in this movie Sabotage. To get up and go on an airplane, there might be a hijacker. To get up and go to a sporting event, there might be a crazed shooter in the crowd somewhere wanting to be like a sniper and shoot people dead, like in the '72 Olympics. You name it, they will create the fear. And how do they create it? Well, it's in that little circle there, real, R-E-E-L. So if you can help me on this, Bartholomew the Strangler, maybe you have some thoughts, please leave the thoughts. But anyhow, that little boy Stevie was carrying that film, and hence we're finding it in the wreckage.
Got on to anything?
I'm not sure.
Well, make up your mind. What is it, anyway? Bartholomew something. That's a film tin, isn't it? I thought you said Verloc hadn't been out since this morning.
He hasn't.
Well, you'd best go back there and see if that's one of their films.
You want me, sir?
Yes, you'd better join Hollington at the bird shop.
Yes, sir.
Don't go inside, just keep your eyes open.
I will, sir.
All right, Spencer. Cut off.
Is that anything to do with it, Mr. Spencer?
Bartholomew the Strangler.
That's a film tin, isn't it?
No. Sardines.
The new big bomb sensation. Alex, the new big bomb sensation.
You know, once again, how do they create the terror? Through the film or through the print. Now, we have passed away from being a print-oriented society. We are now a visual society where almost everything is communicated visually through videos, through watching television, through watching computer. But at one time, society was based almost exclusively on print. And with the introduction of radio, that began to change a little bit. But it was the newspapers and the magazines that created the fear. So you're seeing a fear monger now trying to pass along fear to everybody. And this is exactly what they do in their hoax news stories. They run up and down the streets and tell you about the latest hoax so that you can add it to your collection of fears.
He's all right. He can take care of himself. You've got nothing to worry about. Give me a pen.
Alex, the new big bomb sensation. Alex, the new slide X, the new big bomb sensation. Alex, the new slide.
See, now that illustrates the 1, 2, 3 system. Now once again, Dave J is the one to acquire your knowledge from. And anything I say about the coded system, I've acquired it almost exclusively from Dave J. He's an outstanding teacher if you can abide with him. and you can stay with him, and you can work on thinking about what he has said. So the man running up and down the streets with the newspaper represents the number 1. That is your news story, your hoax news story, your lie. Number 2 is you pick it up and you begin to read it and you begin to say, oh my, this is terrible. A bomb went off in London. Oh my, this is terrible. And then add the current news hoaxes. And that was your number 2. So now, once number 2, the news story clicks in your brain, it goes with the 1, and that makes 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then that is yours now. So the young lady here, Mrs. Verloc, the mother of the child that died, is going to become sort of the 3 now, because she will accept it and it will be hers. So that's how the 1, 2, 3 system works.
Big bomb sensation. Big bomb sensation. Alex.
Okay, I paused there for just a minute in case you wanted to see it. As it is in the print. We're out of the print world, so to speak, and very few people acquire their hoaxes through print. Some still do, but mostly it's visual now, visual and audio.
Come on, keep backing up.
There's one thing I must say is that any of these films by Hitchcock are worth watching because the techniques that he employed were just absolutely astounding and also kind of revolutionary in a way, but no one can compare to the building up and the creation of suspense like Alfred Hitchcock.
I want Mr. Verloc. I want to see Mr. Verloc.
I didn't mean any harm to come to the boy. Come on.
Okay, back to my other video, the Canaanites. They have no compassion. They have no interest in other people. They're completely void of love for others. And hence the term psychopath is often used, and that is true. The book by Eustace Mullins will verify this. Curse of Canaan. And I've done some lectures on that, and they're kind of scattered on my other channels, so I have to get back to working with that book. But anyhow, they are insensitive to humanity. They don't care. And we see it in Mr. Verloc. He's talking about the son, and that's his wife. And he just says, I didn't mean any harm to come to the boy. Well, guess what? The wife has got a little something brewing in her.
You've got to think of tomorrow. You'll need all your wits about you. You take it on to me. You might answer a fellow. Do be reasonable. What would it have been if you had lost me? That swine in the aquarium. Silly, jeering, dangerous brute. with no more sense than... You didn't know. Quite right, too. I'm not a chap to worry a woman that's fond of me. You have no business to know. You'll have to pull yourself together, my girl. What's done can't be undone. You could do better. What you want is a good cry. I know how you feel. Do you think it doesn't touch me? Do you think I fixed it so that he'd be killed? No. But I tell you who did. Your Scotland Yard friend from next door, Ted. Blame him. I'd have carried the thing myself, but he was hanging around watching, spying. I couldn't get away.
Okay, now once again, the Canaanites believe they're completely innocent of any evil or any sin. And the Masons too, by the way. The Masons are Canaanites. The Masons are Canaanites. They wear an apron over their privates. And the apron is symbolic of covering. And in the Bible, the word atonement comes from the idea of a covering. So atonement means you cover someone's sins so they can't be seen and they can't be felt, that you don't know they're there. And that is the meaning of the word atonement. So the Masons wear their stupid apron because they're covering their sins. They're covering themselves and saying, nothing we do is wrong. We're guiltless. We're innocent. And furthermore, Mr. Verloc now shifts it and says it's Scotland Yard's fault. And that's what the devil always does. The devil shifts things. There's evil, but the devil calls the evil good. And then there's good, and the devil calls the good evil. From Isaiah chapter number 5. So you see, in this movie, they're showing you and telling you what the Canaanites do and how they function. And Mr. Verloc is a classic. This is his wife. That was his son. That was their child. He should be in tears. He should be weeping. He should be rolling on the ground in sorrow. His son is dead. Instead, he's angry. And he's vicious. Don't worry, Mrs. Verloc has something in mind.
Listen, it's done now. And there's the future. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps if we had a kid of our own.
Hitchcock Robin.
Okay. In the opening credits of the movie Sabotage, they will give credit to none other than Walt Disney for the usage of that little cartoon. Now I want you to stop and think about the cartoon itself and the great evil that's in it. There's a melodious song, everybody's having a good time, and then all of a sudden an arrow comes and kills. And there's death. They are a cult of death. They love death. And they love it in two dimensions. They love it in real, R-E-A-L. They love real death, actual death. And they love real, R-E-E-L, death. They love death on the screen. They love death hoaxes, telling you hundreds and thousands of people died in something, and all it was a filming. Either way, they love death, and they're about death. And it's interesting that they will use a cartoon by Walt Disney, and the year is 1936. And upcoming is World War II, and Great Britain or England is going to fight none other than, guess what? Hitler! And who plays Hitler? Who plays Hitler? Who is the one dressed in costume playing Hitler? None other than Walt Disney. Yes, Walt Disney plays Hitler. And you can see the work of Dallas Goldbug, Ed Sheerini. His channels were Well Aware. I'm not even aware if Well Aware is still online or not. I don't know. But for the longest time his stuff was up. And yes, it's accurate. Disney played Hitler. So it's interesting. In 1936, they're using a Disney cartoon to show you and illustrate they love death. And also, kind of like a little joke or a little pun, the one who plays Hitler, we borrowed his cartoon.
We ain't in but that light from him. Get him along now.
Now notice the use of sound, how that Who Killed Cock Robin is playing as she walks away, almost like it's a haunting thing in her conscience about the death of her boy and the death of others with that bomb that exploded on the bus.
Pull yourself together a bit. That's better. Never green. Why can't that woman cook green stuff any better? Surely she's been long enough here to know how fond I'm of that sort of thing. I don't think I want any cabbage. Couldn't we send next door for some?
that's the name of their son, Stevie. So we're looking at kind of a sweet revenge. Mrs. Verloc will knife and kill her husband, the one who was responsible for the death of their son, by sending off a bomb with Stevie. And because of the delays, it didn't arrive where it was supposed to arrive on time, and hence Stevie was killed through the bomb. So in a way, this is like a sweet revenge sort of a thing, and it might have been placed into the whole script because of trying to appease the reader or the audience that evil's not going to prevail. And by the way, this film is based on a novel by the famous writer Joseph Conrad, and I guess it was adapted for film, and a film script was created from the novel, and the novel was written, I think, shortly thereafter World War I. So the audience now is probably thinking, okay, we've got some relief. The killer of the boy and the killer of others is now dead. So I think what I'm going to do is stop it right here. I do want to thank you for watching, and I may do a few more videos on the movie Sabotage. But once again, to reiterate, you do not need to be afraid of saboteurs or terrorists. They're not out there physically, but they can be in the mind. So get them out of your mind and just go out and live your life, and know that you're not going to be attacked by a saboteur or a terrorist. God is not the author of fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Thank you for watching. End of video.